Hello, this is Paul with Logix Magazine, and today we're going to talk about 9 projects you must have in your portfolio. And we're going to get started right now. All right, so I often get asked, what should I put in my portfolio? What kind of projects? Well, we're going to talk about what should be in your portfolio, where to learn that information, or at least practice that information. Then we give you some tips and ideas about how to make your portfolio stand out and be unique. We're going to get started right here, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, a portfolio is a collection of projects that that you have that are custom made for you, right? They're made by you. They are projects that you built that are unique to you, that demonstrates to an employer what you're capable of doing. Now, in any project, you need to be able to show general knowledge, and you need to be able to demonstrate a unique perspective of the type of projects that you have. What I mean by that is you don't want cookie cutter projects, okay? This project that we're looking at right here is a factory I/O project. It's a scene that measures the level of a tank. Okay, so it uses analog measurements. But this is a great example of a general knowledge project. Most certainly you need to use projects and build projects that include this type of general knowledge. But if everyone did a project like this, there's no way that you would stand out, because everyone's the same. They're doing the exact same thing. So what I want to do is I want to share some information here with you that I think is very important and something you don't see on the internet. And that is what you should learn and how you can learn it and how to make yours unique. Let's go ahead and get into it again here. So what we have here is in the factory I/O, it's a great software that literally gives you 3D simulation. So now in this software, you need the software, you need your laptop, this software, and you need a real world processor. So this one happens to be hooked up to a network via Ethernet to a 1769 L18ER BB1B, and it's got some embedded I/O, and that's it. So with that processor, I can choose a scene. Let's assume that I want, like I did here, I chose a tank level. Okay, so where are we at? Tank level right here, right? We'll save that, right? So we'll come here and I will pick the tank level, discard it. Let's go back. All right, somehow I did not get the scene that I wanted. All right, and tank level. So I have my tank level. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure that tank level. If I can get this set right, for an RS Logix 5000. Now this is not a video on how to teach you how to use RS Logix or a factory I/O or necessarily a PLC programming. But bear with me. We're going to connect this, because currently this is connected, as I said, to my PLC, right? Now you notice the gray is something I have not programmed for, and the white that stands out is programmed for in the processor. So if I go back to my simulation, I can begin to simulate. Once I start this program, I can begin to simulate this software purely based on my code in the processor. I can toggle it, etc. Now, the interesting point here is I can also program these controls here that I would come in here and I could literally program to toggle these controls. Now I have not done this. I put this together real quick, but this is a great software. You'll notice that we have a potentiometer here. We have our momentary push buttons. We have our analog feed out readers here, and we can do quite a bit of stuff here. We have different valves and meters and all kinds of options here. As a matter of fact, I can actually even add in, stop this. I can add in new hardware very easily. I can add in more tanks, right? I can add in conveyors. I can add in lights. There's just a ton of stuff that I can put into this factory. So Factory.io is a great software. All right. Okay, so let's get into the 9 very specific must-have projects in your portfolio. So in the scenes for Factory.io, you get quite a bit of options. You have an A to B. So essentially you start a box from one end of the conveyor, move it to the next. And here they give you an option to set and reset. So you have conveyors, right? Now we can look at this and we can put together very large conveyor systems. We can add more conveyors to this and make this a very complex project here, right? And we can just continue and continue and continue doing just that, adding more and more conveyors to our system. Now, for training purposes, this is well and fine. We can actually do some simulation of some real world conveyor setups, right? Now, what we want to use this for, in all actuality, is we want to be able to track packages. In this case, right? We want to be able to track a box or boxes in this scenario. So you'll push the start button, and you'll actually get a variety of different boxes that will just automatically appear, and you get the opportunity to track them through your conveyor system. Okay, the heights, you'll notice here, they're all you have several options in order to track different size boxes. You can track whether you have if you happen to have a pallet that did not have a box on it. There's a lot of variables. The most important thing here is you need to be able to set up an array and track a package through a conveying system. Okay. The next most important one is that you need to be able to sort that. And you'll notice here we have a left and a right side. So once we get our packages in, we can have our tall boxes go to the left and our short boxes go to the right. And then we can track how many of each that we have. So what we can do is have our package go down through here. And as I said, I didn't set up the program here for this, and make a left and a right hand turn, and we will literally be able to track our package. We'll be able to track if any packages happen to fall off the conveyor. We'll be able to track whether there's tall ones or short ones, and we'll be able to sort those packages. So a lot of this seems very common, you would think common sense, right? Not too hard, very basic. You essentially need to be able to build arrays, track packages, reset arrays, and sort using arrays. Essentially, this is what we're going to do. You also want to be able to track the amount of time and the quantity of packages. So you got some production counting in there as well. Plus, if you, as you build your projects, you are going to want to build a project that has lots of different controls as well. And you can add controls to this packet, to this enclosure, just by literally drag and dropping them onto your onto your enclosure, right? So this is an example of how we would do that. So now the key component here is this. This scene right here, this simulation here, gives you the two most important starting projects you want in your portfolio. You need to be able to track a package. You need to be able to sort a package. Those are two of the most important, and this scene can give you that. Now, in addition to that, you notice that we have a safety gate here, right? So we can create some safety scenarios as well. They do give you safety gates that you can install and open and close to break your to disrupt your auto cycle, so that you have the opportunity to reset your system. So there's a lot of different options that you have here, as well as a lot of different hardware features. In this particular case, this has a light curtain that will help you measure the height of a box. So there's a lot of features here that you'll be able to benefit from. And again, if we were to look at another scene, one of the other scenes that becomes really evident is we can batch. That is one of the next most important things, projects we want in our portfolio, is we're going to be able to batch. Literally have 3 different, 4 different, 5 different types of chemicals in this particular case, or fluids in this case. And what we can do is we can label them A, B, C, and D, and then manage the volume level of each one of those. And that will help demonstrate that we can understand how to batch, in this case, fluid. Okay, very important project to have in your portfolio. Okay, now if we go back to our other scenes, we can notice that if we get in close here, we can get right on top of this motor. Right now, if I right click this motor, it gives me the option to use an encoder. Okay, now you'll notice right there, an encoder appears. You want to have a project that uses encoders. You want to demonstrate that you understand and know how to use encoders. So what do we got? So we got track, sort, batch, encoders. Very important that you can demonstrate and understand how to program for an encoder. All right, let's go back, and we want to look at another scene here. And okay, so if we look at our level control, right? In here, we want to be able to demonstrate that as we're building our batching, we can, let me find, there we go, our multiple tanks, or just a single tank, doesn't really matter. But we want to be able to demonstrate that we can control a process, right? So we want to demonstrate PID, okay, proportional integral derivative programming. And you can use these one or multiple tanks as an example in your batch program to manage this process, more hands-off than hands-on, all right? So that's where PID loops will become very important, and you can use Factory.io for that sort of demonstration, all right? Okay, so then that also gives us our analog signal. Any of these here that you're going to program, I shouldn't say, you have 2 options for your tanks in particular. And actually, I just stumbled across this when I first started. You'll notice that, well, let's look at the one that we have. In the one that I've got set up currently, if I look at the IO, or I go to set it up, so it's set up, Factory.io, you'll notice that I have some floating point here, right? So I have my analog signal. Very important that one of your or multiple projects can demonstrate that you understand analog, whether it's temperature or sensor or pressure, or in this case, it will be volume. Very important that you demonstrate you understand analog signaling, okay? And you'll want that so that you can put into your program so that you know how to program and install a analog card, and you can program for that. Very important. Okay, so let's look at what we got. We got tracking, we got sorting, we got batches, we got PID loops, we got analog, right? One of the other ones you're going to want is we have encoders, right? So essentially our high-speed counters. So that gives us six projects so far. All right. Now, all of those can be learned using Factory I/O, at least the fundamentals of them. All right. If you actually work on it, you can get a good solid understanding on those 6 programming projects with the help of Factory I/O. But I think that you need to add a couple more to them. Another one is servos. It's very important that you are able to have a basic knowledge of servos and be able to put together a very decent servo project. All right, very important. And one of the best resources for that is my online PLC support with Shane Welcher. He's got a really he's like one of the top online PLC programmers for servos. So it's a great, you got to get in there, work with him and do some programming, learn how he puts his servo programs together. Look, you don't have to be a master at it, but you most certainly need to have a good couple of projects that demonstrate you have a good understanding of the fundamentals of servos. Very important. Another one along with that is vision systems. Now I have a Keyence vision program that I do share with people, but you also can go to Udemy and work with Solace PLC, and they have a great, or you can go to solaceplc.com, and he has a great program on vision systems that you can pick up and learn. And once you get the fundamentals, it's really not really complicated, but I highly recommend that you have some programs built using vision systems. So some sort of one of the vision systems, okay? Cognex is for Solace PLC, or feel free to contact me and I can help you get some Keyence course so that you can add that to your project portfolio. Very important. And then the final one, so number 9, is barcodes. I think that this is important because you need to implement ASCII code, and that's very important in my opinion to have in a project portfolio. So all in all, we're talking about 9 different projects that you can use to put into your project portfolio. Now, obviously, you can add in your HMI, okay, to add to any of these projects. That's a very important add-on to what you're doing here. And AutoCAD, very important that you have those projects in there as well to demonstrate that you can draw prints and you can develop HMI programs. So when you have this in-depth a portfolio, you're going to most certainly attract somebody to pay attention to your skill set. No question. Your resume, your portfolio is going to get, this is what's going to get you your job. Okay. You work and build a portfolio that includes all of the items I just listed, not just one program, but a couple of programs for each one of these. and you actually are very knowledgeable and intimate about every part of every program, do not copy and paste. You're going to get found out. But know how to do it. This is what you need to learn. This is like a level 2 amount of knowledge. You need to know this knowledge. You need to know it very, very well. Well, 2 to 3 anyhow, level 2 to 3. You need to know it very, very well and build very good projects that you built, not copy and paste, and you understand every single element of that. Now, Factory.io is a great tool, right? But that's all it is. If you use Factory.io and you do the minimum and you do not demonstrate a unique perspective, a unique spin to the project that draws the recruiter or the HR managers or the engineering manager's attention, it's going to look like every other project that's out there. Okay, everybody else has the exact same software. They have access to it. And they're going to learn the exact same way as you are. And that's what you want to have here. I, on the other hand, propose that you look at real world machines, study them, get the documentation, and begin to build a project using this knowledge in a real world application. All right. So if you work in for example, if you work at a corrugating company that makes boxes, use a real world application there that uses these 9, well, if we add in the AutoCAD and the HMI, 11 very specific programs, then you're going to be able to demonstrate something that nobody else is, because you're going to pick a machine that nobody else probably will. You're going to program something, maybe pick something that you think could be done better, and add that in there and put a unique spin to it. All right, pick all kinds of equipment that you at least have knowledge about how to use and how an operator uses it, and then build that program and put a unique spin to it, your own particular way that you're going to program it, but then incorporate these 9, 10, 11 different elements into your projects. So I hope that makes sense. So if you got a box making machine, on a box making machine, I'm sure that there's an encoder. Okay, I'm sure that you're going to have high-speed counters. Likely, you're going to be able to track and sort boxes and batch them, put it in batching certain types of boxes. It's very easy to just implement a vision system. And actually, now that I think about it, the box machines that I worked on did have vision systems. You can add in a servo element, and most certainly you can put in some barcodes. So I hope you see where I'm going here. Make it unique to you. Factory.io is just a training tool. It's not what you want to put into your project portfolio, all right? Because you have to assume a lot of other people are going to do that. Think at a higher level. Take something from the real world, right? Draw your prints from a real world machine, all right? And then when you do it, when you present it, it's going to look professional, because it is professional. It's going to be about a real world machine. It's going to look just like a real world application, but you built it. Now, you don't have to build the entire project, the entire prints. You don't have to do all the prints. You don't have to build a PLC program for this huge machine. Program a section of it that incorporates these elements: HMI, draw some prints, vision system, barcode, all right? Draw elements of using these pieces. So I hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, put them down below. I'd be glad to help you. If this is your first time here, though, and you find this helpful, subscribe. We got lots more coming your way. All right. If you want to be notified every time we produce a video, hit the bell. You guys know the routine. So I look forward to hearing all your questions. If you have any questions, let me know. You get stuck with ideas, you need some support, just let me know down below, and I'll do the best I can to help you. So until next time, this is Paul with the Logix Magazine.